Okay. There it is. We are live. Yo, what's up, gamers? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Lincoln Clay 670. That's Clay with a K. Lincoln Clay coming at you with another live stream. And I am absolutely elated right now. I gotta close this window again. So it appears that when I do these live streams, I gotta close the window, the YouTube window, um, because I think the low output from the stream causes buffering, and in some cases it causes the broadcast to skip altogether. So I might be in the middle of a sentence, and then it sounds like I'm totally jumping to something else before I finish what I'm talking about. So be aware of that. But to start off with, I am absolutely elated. I will be starting a new job on Tuesday, and I'm elated about it because I will be back on first shift, so my life will be back to normal. That means I will be back on the Roundtable podcast whenever King Thrash holds those. Shout out to him, and he was the first person I contacted to let him know that I got a new job, so to let him know I'll be back on the Roundtable podcast. So I am looking forward to that because I really do enjoy the podcast. It's something I really look forward to, and I'm always honored to be on there. So shout out to King Thrash for that. So so to give you a little brief history, I was working a job. I was there for about I was coming up on 10 years, and like 2 weeks before my 10-year anniversary came up, they laid me off out of the wild blue, um, along with 45 other people. The department that I was working in, they decided that they were going to exit that business because they said it wasn't profitable. So they held an emergency meeting that morning and said 45 people will be laid off today. And an hour later, they came around and started picking people up off the floor and started walking them out the door. And so to make it even more embarrassing, I was the first person they came and picked up off the floor. People sitting there having discussions about who they think gonna get walked out the door first and stuff like that. And then I see the plant manager go into my department over by my booth and start looking around for me. I was like, well, the first domino just fell. So, and so while I was off, for these couple of months, whatever the case may be, I decided that it would be a good time to go ahead and start my YouTube channel. And so that was one of the reasons why I was able to put out so many videos, because I had a lot of time on my hands. And so now that I'm back to work, now that I'm going to be going back to work, what does this mean moving forward in terms of me putting out videos? I'm not going to be able to pump them out in the beginning like I did, where I was putting out, anywhere from 3 to 5 videos a week. So these live streams are much, much faster, even though like I said before, I still prefer to do videos, do full blown videos and add gameplay and add music, because it's a lot more professional. I really like doing that, but it's really, really time consuming. And another issue is, as you can tell by my build, I do work out a lot. I've been working out off and on for about 25 years. When I first got started, I was about 125 pounds. Now I've been committed to the gym over the last 6 years, and yeah, about 6 years. So, and I quit drinking about 5.5 years ago. I do not drink, and I never did smoke. Um, but the job that I got laid off from the work was really physical, so it was leaving me really tired. So I wasn't able to make it to the gym the way I wanted to, because like I said before, I worked out about 4 or 5 times a week. But as this job was starting to wear me out more and more, it was like I'm going to the gym 3 times a week, 2 times a week, once a week. Sometimes not going to the gym for 3 weeks. So I really been slacking there. And believe it or not, I am an old dude. I'm 50 years old. I'll be 51 in a couple of months. And the picture that you're staring at, that picture was taken about 6 months ago. So for the most part, yeah, I've lost a little bit of size because I haven't been in the gym like I'm supposed to. But for the most part, I do look like what you see right there in that picture. And I've been slacking and dragging ass and shit like that. And now that everything's about to get back to normal, it's time to get back and get focused on the gym. So with that being said, between work and getting my focus back in the gym and stuff like that, I may not be producing videos the way I did in the beginning, but these live streams are still so much faster, and it's still a quick way to keep everybody informed and stay in touch with my subscribers. I really appreciate all my subscribers, and thanks for taking the time to watch my videos. I really appreciate it. So now that you know my lifelong story there, let's talk about the subject of this live stream. As it says, 2018 is going to be a big year for Sony. They got the exclusives coming out, as everybody knows about. They've got a ton of PlayStation VR games coming out. And I said it before, just to name a few, some of the games that I'm looking forward to. Bravo Team comes out here in about a couple of weeks. I'm absolutely excited for that game. Alvo, Special Forces VR, Firewall. That's another one I'm absolutely excited about. King Thrash had a moment to play that game at the PlayStation Experience, and he said that's definitely a must-have game. And I think there's Blood and Truth. That's another game that I'm looking forward to. And as far as the other PlayStation games, we know about the main ones, the main games like God of War, Detroit Become Human, Spider-Man, The Last of Us, Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding. I mean, those are the heavy hitters that we know about. And then there's the other ones that we don't know, so that everybody still don't know so much about. In Yakuza 6, I mentioned that yesterday. That was one of those games where I'm kind of interested in it, but after seeing a couple of videos, it's definitely a game that's that's on my wish list, but it's not at the top of my wish list. So because of all these games that's going to be coming out, I mentioned it before, that Yakuza 6 probably will not be a day one purchase. That's probably going to be one of those games. As it stands, I already said it before that I'm going to wait for Yakuza 0 to go on sale. And when I pick that up and finish that, then I'll come back and grab Yakuza 6. So that's another game. It's not at the top of my list. It's like I said, maybe second on my wish list. I got my priority groups of games that I want, and then second in line after that. Another game that is probably going to be a day one purchase for me is going to be Shenmue 3. I played both Shenmue 1 and 2, and I played the original Shenmue on the Dreamcast, and that console was like ahead of its time. I just that's one of those consoles that I just scratch my head as to why that console didn't do so good. That was a incredible console. I really, really loved that. It was ahead of its time. But so Sega stopped making the Dreamcast, and then Shenmue 2 went over to the original Xbox. As a matter of fact, that was the game that prompted me to buy the original Xbox. I still had my Dreamcast, even though it was defunct and they wasn't making any games for it anymore. I was still monkeying around playing Shenmue, and then Shenmue 2 was out, and I was like, I started fiending. I started acting like a crack fiend, scratching the side of my neck and shit like that. I was like, damn, I want to play some Shenmue 2. I was like, but I don't want to drop this money for for Xbox. I can't remember what it cost at the time, $300 or $400, and I just said hell with it. I got up at 3 in the morning and went to a store and bought an Xbox and the Shenmue game at like 3 in the morning, and I bought one of those original Xboxes that had that big fat double cheeseburger controller. And fortunately, I had a friend who had the newer 3 Xbox controller, and he wanted to switch with me because he liked the Duke. So, excuse me, I'm going off the tracks a little bit though. But what I wanted to talk about with these exclusives that's coming out is that they got so many exclusives coming out that I don't think these games are going to have room to breathe. I think they're going to suffocate each other. And prime example, is that Yakuza 6, is, even though it's coming out 3 days before God of War, on April 17th, it's not gonna, I don't think the game's going to reach its potential because of God of War coming up 3 days after that. God of War is a day one purchase for me. If Yakuza 6 were to release April 17th and God of War were to release like a month later or something like that, then yes, it would be a day one purchase for me. I really think that Sony should have started January off with Shadow of the Colossus. I think it should have came out in January instead of February. And I think this Yakuza 6 should have came out, in February. And then not to mention that MLB The Show, that's a day one purchase for me. That's coming up at the end of March. So I've already talked about like 4 or 5 games already, and we haven't even gotten through April yet. So I'm really, really concerned that they're going to release too many games too close to each other, and these games aren't going to have room to breathe. They're not going to have room to grow. And I think with a game, especially a new IP or at least something that I'm not familiar with, I think the game needs a couple of months to grow, for word to spread about the game. I do, I know I understand the Yakuza series, has a following, but I think if they wanted to appeal to a broader audience, that they should have released this game in a window where there's nothing else around it. And that stuff like that concerns me, because if these games don't have room to grow, a developer may not be so quick to want to make to make a sequel to that game, if they're concerned that the game's not going to sell very well, which I think hurts everybody in the long run. So I never thought I'd see the day where I would say that I wish they would push some of these games back. I never in my life thought I would say something like that, because I'm the type of person that don't open your mouth about a game unless it's ready to go. But all these games are coming out, and most of them are slated for 2018. And I know they got some slated for 2019, but shit. Truth be told, Sony got so many exclusives coming out that they could easily stretch all these games out into 2021, into 2021. And hell, if the PlayStation 5 released in 2022, that wouldn't hurt my feelings one bit, because that's, that gives everybody plenty of time to play all these games before we move into the next generation. And I never thought I'd see the day come that I would want a console to get pushed back a couple of years, because I'm definitely the type of person that, I might be sitting here, I'm on my PlayStation Pro, and I'm like, come on, hurry up, bring on this PS5, hurry up, bring it on. No, I don't want that. I don't want the PS5 coming out in 2019, 2020. I would be fine with the console coming out in 2021. That Sony has put out a lot of hit games, and I think it will retain, its user base. So I don't think, unless they do something like incredibly stupid, they're going to be there. They're going to be there. They'll be there when you're ready to release the PS5. I don't think it's that big of a hurry. And then, it's probably a fucked up thing to say, but I'm counting on Microsoft to shoot themselves in the foot. Somehow, whenever they release the Xbox 2, they're going to do something. Is I've said it too many times. I'm not going to beat that dead horse and not get into too much of a negative subject with that. But so many of their mistakes, I think, are so centered around trying to steal that PlayStation audience and trying to beat Sony, that I think it caused them to make some questionable decisions. And then with the release of the Xbox One, they attempted to go after the casual gamer. I said it before in one of my videos. That was a huge mistake right there, trying to go after the casual audience, trying to make an all-in-one media device. And I said this before as a description, that if you're in the mall and Microsoft is Foot Locker, they're gonna cater to people who are into athletic apparel. And at some point, they decided that they wanted to go after the people walking through the mall who don't buy shit, that's just walking around window shopping. And they try to go after those casuals. And so now the Foot Locker store is starting to get filled up with Levi's jeans and Dockers. So what do you think's going to happen to that, to that clientele that normally comes in for athletic apparel? They're going to go somewhere else. So, they just don't seem to learn. So, like I said, between Sony continuing to do what it's doing and putting out a bunch of hit games, and Microsoft making questionable moves, I don't expect much to change the next generation. I mean, I don't really see anything as a wow factor. I mean, this situation is such that they're relying on, they're relying on GameStop, the Game Pass, to do what the console sales couldn't do. So, but got off the tracks again. But yeah, I'm really concerned about Sony releasing all these games too close together. And I kind of think that hurts everybody in the long run, because for one, if you release these games too close together and they don't sell very well, it's going to force them to put the game on sale much sooner than they want to. And all these games that I want, if they were to spread them out to the point where I'm not spending so much money in such a short amount of time, I wouldn't have a problem paying the $60 for all these games. But like I said, they're coming out with so many games, I got to pick and choose my battles. And I have my games that I want day one that I will pay the $60 for. But everything else, I'll have to wait for sales, or rely on an overtime check or something like that, because it's just too many games. And then those are the exclusives. And then don't forget, I think Call of Duty, Activision is coming out with another Black Ops, and then we got Red Dead Redemption 2, which those are going to be heavy hitters too. And I do plan on getting Red Dead Redemption as well. So that's another game that I'm gonna have to fork out $60 for. So, and then then we got all the PlayStation games, all the PlayStation VR games. So shit, when all is said and done, I could easily be dropping $500 for all the games I want. That's just a rough guess. It could be more. But I'm a blue collar worker. I'm an average working man, so I don't have a ton of money, so I can't just jump up and blow money every time I want, And so with that, and I think most of a big chunk of the Sony fan base is probably blue collar workers too. They make average salaries. And so I know a lot of them are in the same position that I am, that they want a ton of those games, but they're not going, but they got to pick and choose which ones are at the top of the list. So I don't know. So Sony going to make gaming an expensive habit in 2018, but I don't know. As a consumer, that's a good problem to have so many games that you have to, decide which is at the top of the list and so forth. But I don't know. I think as a developer, I would probably be concerned if I have a lesser known title going up against a bigger title. So, but but I wish all these developers the best of these games coming out this year. At least the ones that's dedicated to bringing the gamer a very good experience. The ones who practice shady shit, with intrusive microtransaction. Fuck y'all. I hope y'all go bankrupt. But at the end of the day, yeah, multiplayer first person shooters are cool, but I'm the type of person I like to play story driven games because I like to see the game play out like a movie. Because if it's got a really good story, I was the type of person that if a game has a really good story, I want to hurry up and beat the bosses so I could see the cutscenes. To me, that was the reward for beating a boss. From the era that I came from of playing video games, seeing the cutscenes like take Tekken for instance. That was the reward for beating the boss, was to see the little short cutscenes afterwards. Because every character had their own little cutscene. So that was the reward, to see those cutscenes, and to see something like the way it is now, like like The Last of Us. That The Last of Us 2. I think that's gonna play out like a hell of a movie. I don't know. That could be one of those games that could be up for Game of the Year or something. But I'm gonna get ready to go here shortly. But before I do, tonight is going to be my last night working this second shift job. I'm going to take tomorrow off all the way through Monday so I can recharge my battery and get my body adjusted to being on first shift again. With that being said, tomorrow I will do a drunken bar fight live stream, or just flat out make a video of it. If I live streams are faster, but the video quality is kind of terrible. Last time I did that, there was a lot of pixels and there's a lot of pixelated shit in there. But if I make a full-blown video, using the Share Factory, then the quality will be much, much better. So, it'd probably be some voiceover shit, but I am going to make which I think is going to be a very funny drunken bar fight video, but be warned, the language is going to be very graphic. So that's a warning there. And then I do plan on trying to check, and go through the latest news, and maybe make a full-blown video catching up on the latest news. And then I don't know, still at this point, I think I'm still planning on doing a live stream at 8 o'clock. And then other things to look out for. I've gotten commitments from a couple of my YouTube friends to come on as guests. I've got a commitment from Xbox Vidiot, and I've got a commitment from King Thrash. So once I get this stuff figured out, my biggest concern right now is the speed of my internet. I don't have a very good upload speed, and I don't want to have them on as a guest if the thing, if my internet's going to keep buffering or outright skip, and you miss parts of the stream. So I need to make sure that's not going to be an issue first before I ask them to come on. And I plan to talk to some of my other YouTube friends and ask them to come on as guests too. But those are definitely two people to look out for, is Xbox Vidiot and King Thrash, because I definitely got commitments from them to come on board. So keep your eyes open for that. And with that being said, it's about 1:30, so I think it's about time for me to wrap it up, because I usually start getting ready around 2:30 for work, and I just want to basically take this next hour to go to sleep with my eyes open so I can get ready for work. But if you didn't check it out live and you end up coming back and watching the replay of this video, give it a like. Like I said, shoot me a little message in the comments or whatever, and I'll be sure to respond. And with that being said, this is your boy Lincoln Clay. I will holler at y'all later. I'm out.